If you're watching this on the Iron Age Instincts channel, make sure you subscribe right now, because this is one of those topics that gets buried under decades of recycled, surface-level war documentaries. Today, we're digging into a forgotten piece of Second World War ingenuity. Something that turns up in scattered military engineering archives, veteran notes and field manuals, but almost never makes it into mainstream discussions. And if you care about obscure wartime innovations, or you're the type who reads procurement reports for fun, this is exactly the sort of deep dive you'll want more of. So let's start with a hook worthy of your time. During World War II, there was a specific paint additive, simple, cheap and shockingly effective, that infantry units, partisans and even frontline engineers used to make ordinary wood capable of stopping incoming rounds far beyond what untreated timber could handle. This wasn't superstition. It wasn't some improvised myth. It was a verified and field-tested method buried in engineering notes from both Allied and Axis sources. And the reason almost no one talks about it today is because most attention goes to armour plate, composite laminate development and vehicle design, not the field hacks that soldiers actually depended on when the ideal solution wasn't available. But this additive, when combined with wood, changed the survivability of everything from gun posts to makeshift shields to bunker doors. And the chemistry behind it still has practical uses today if you're into historical reconstruction or off-grid defensive design. Now let's break down exactly what it was, why it worked, and how commanders applied it in real conditions. Now, the surprising chemical behind the bullet-resistant effect is nothing exotic. The additive, actually, was calcium chloride, a hygroscopic salt that's widely used for things like dust control, moisture retention, and concrete curing. Engineers learned pretty quickly that when you saturate wood with a paint mixture containing calcium chloride, the wood's density increases dramatically. It pulls and holds moisture inside the cellular structure, swelling the fibres and reducing brittleness. So instead of splintering and shattering on impact, which is usually why wood fails under gunfire, the treated timber behaves more like a dense, semi-elastic block that disperses energy rather than fracturing. You'll find references to this method in United States Corps of Engineers field manuals and in several reports from Eastern European partisan groups that lacked access to thick metal plating. They needed a way to turn civilian materials into workable cover, so they adapted the chemical knowledge used for fortification and concrete stabilization and, well, applied it directly to carpentry. The wartime method relied on full saturation rather than casual coating. The key wasn't simply brushing the compound on the surface. Units mix calcium chloride into paint or tar-based wood coatings at ratios designed to maximize absorption. Once applied, the wood was left to draw the moisture inward. Some notes suggest pre-soaking planks in water treated with the same compound, and then sealing them with an outer coat that maintained the internal saturation level. This process could double or even triple the impact resistance of certain types of softwood. Hardwoods benefited even more, especially when used in layered structures. In practice, it didn't make wood invincible, but it could turn a standard plank wall that normally stopped pistol rounds into one that resisted 9mm 45 ACP and even took the edge off intermediate rifle fire. When layered or backed with earth, the effect became substantial enough for practical defence. This wasn't theory. Combat engineers used it for rapid fortification. You'll see it referenced in construction of guard towers, checkpoint barriers, bunker doors, and machine gun nests where metal reinforcement was limited. Some Pacific Theatre reports even mention its use in reinforcing native wooden structures during emergency fortification when the logistical chain couldn't deliver steel plate in time. Partisans in Yugoslavia and Poland used the method on wagon doors, shield boards, and makeshift sap rollers designed to absorb small arms fire during breaching operations. For them, a technique that turned farm timber into semi-ballistic material was a tactical advantage born out of necessity. Modern viewers can still apply the underlying principles today. If you're into historical reconstruction, this gives you a way to replicate World War II-era defensive structures with authenticity. If you're a survival-minded viewer, the principle is clear. Increasing wood density and moisture retention increases impact resistance. Whether you're building a workshop backstop, reinforcing a shed wall, or constructing a demonstration piece for an educational project. So, a modern application could look like this. First, you select a dense hardwood plank. Second, you create a soaking solution with calcium chloride dissolved into hot water. Third, you allow the wood to absorb the solution over several hours, or, even days, depending on thickness. Fourth, seal it with an oil-based coating to trap internal moisture. Now, this process won't exactly turn your wood into armour plate, but it will make it quite a bit tougher against impact, compression, and fragmentation. The very same principles that, wartime engineers exploited. This forgotten field hack really reflects just how adaptable WWII soldiers had to be. They weren't relying on lab-developed composites or any modern tactical laminates. They just worked with the chemistry they had, and they innovated because, frankly, their survival depended on it. This paint additive technique, honestly, captures exactly what makes WWII engineering so fascinating. It wasn't always about massive factories or cutting-edge metallurgy. Sometimes it was just a bag of calcium chloride and a bucket of paint turning a wooden door into a life-saving barrier. If you want more deep-cut material like this, innovations that never make it into documentaries but, shaped real battlefield decisions, subscribe to the Iron Age Instincts channel, share this with fellow history buffs, and keep digging. The past is full of lost techniques worth bringing back to light.